Ask me a question.
Mr. Ursua, approximately how many homes are slated to be built in this area?
The exact number, that'd be a good thing for me to know, good thing we're rehearsing. But on this block, let's count it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. On a street like Moffat, this is Moffat, 14 houses. And as you see, we have the block about to be built up. 14 people, Joe. 14 people that have ordered homes through Beazer Homes, the new Zion model. 14 people coming into Pahrump. It's not just about that. It's not just about me selling you a house, Joe. You know, that's nothing. It's about the ingenuity. It's about what Pahrump means. Pahrump is paradise. Oh, stop lying to me, Matthew. No, you stop lying to me. Pahrump is paradise.
Well, what kind of people are slated to move into these homes?
What kind of people? People like you. It could be you moving. It could be you moving into one of these houses. You know.
So my neighbor will be a hardworking family man.
If that's what he wants to be, and between you and I am in no one in this town of Pahrump that isn't hardworking, that isn't a family man in one way or another. We all have different ways of defining family. You know, I'll sell you a house no matter how you define family, no matter how you define love, no matter the color of your skin. Not just because I have to, because that's the kind of person I am.
Right.
Okay? But I've not met a single person in this town that wasn't good. I've not met a single person in this town didn't find a way to love someone, love something. You know?
So these are the kind of towns that people are moving into, Mr. Ursua.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
What do you know about construction, Joe?
Probably very little.
I need to learn more as we go forward, because it'd be great to be able to explain what these builders are doing. You've got that, you know, trash can out there right in the middle of the road. I don't know exactly when the first family or the first person or the first owner is scheduled to move in to this street. This is Moffat, right? A lot of these homes, like I said, are the Zion model. But when they get here, that's another contribution to the ingenuity of this town. That's another contribution to this community. You know, it could be a doctor, could be a nurse, could be a policeman, a servant, right? It could be the person that serves your breakfast in the morning at Denny's.
What about the access to traffic in the 160?
No, that's a good question. In fact, this subdivision is located in the 89061 zip code. That means it's the easternmost portion of Pahrump. And if you read Las Vegas Review-Journal, if you read many of the articles you see in Pahrump Valley Times in our local newspaper, they've done excellent reporting on why these subdivisions are cropping up here. Well, you know, Pahrump's a big town, actually. 20 miles from one end to the other, depending on how you define one end to the other, how you define the ends. If you live in the 89061 subdivision, especially here, you know, you pop out over there, you make the left, you go down Malibu, and right there you're on Mance. You head up Mance and you're on the 160. And where are you on the 160? You make a right and you're headed into Vegas. You know, right now there's a lot of road work, but when that's done, things will be back to normal when the blasting is done and when they've widened that road. When they're finished with all those phases, it shouldn't take more than 35 minutes to get from that part of Pahrump into Blue Diamond, right?
So the commuters from Vegas.
Exactly, Joe.
Next year or so.
Exactly. That's why.
Vegas quicker.
Exactly. That's why people are here. And if you read those same articles, a lot of them written by Elie Segal, great real estate reporter with the Las Vegas Review-Journal. He brings that up. He makes it explicit. Emphasis on the 89061 zip code because of its proximity to Las Vegas. You've got Artesia at HEREIN Ranch out that way, right here. Beazer Homes building Burson Ranch, and up that way, Mountain Falls. Which, by the way, and we'll talk about this, pre-2008, you know what happened in 2008, right?
I do not.
Financial crisis, Great Recession.
Okay, and market drops.
Right. Were you here in Pahrump?
In 2008.
Were you?
I was in Vegas.
Okay. Well, you saw what happened there, right?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about it. Tell me a little bit about it.
As far as the homes and
Yeah.
the market crashing with the homes and people losing their homes,
Yeah.
and people getting their homes repossessed.
Okay.
Banks
Right.
buying them out.
Exactly. I call that a dividing line between two eras, in a way. You could use the 2008 financial crisis, the Great Recession, and the aftermath of it as a cataclysmic event, an apocalyptic event in real estate. Prior to that, here, building was going on, not here, but out there. And pre-2008, this is what I was talking about, the cataclysmic event that separates two eras. I actually call it a tale of two cities, right? There was this sense of ingenuity. I use the word ingenuity. There was this sense of pride. There was a sense of hope and optimism that was just there, Joe, pre-2008. You see these excavators, all of these? This was here, pre-2008. And more importantly, when no one had any idea what was about to hit, people came to work in the morning, similarly dressed in those neon yellow shirts to build homes. People came to work in the morning, similarly dressed like the folks there at the sales office to sell them. People were coming in droves to buy them. With no idea what was about to happen, these people really believed in their minds that where they would be in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years was indeed a community that had grown epically, that had grown massively. All of this that we're seeing put up here, you rewind time to pre-2008, you ask someone in that sales office, you ask one of these construction workers, they would tell you that this is not even half of what was already supposed to be here in the year 2019. But what happened is an economic collapse. What happened is, in 2008, a seismic event for Pahrump.
Well,
now,
I know one thing, Mr. Ursua, if I were to invest $300,000 in a home out here, the water would be a big issue for me to want to invest. We're running well water.
Okay. In 89061 and in these subdivisions, it's a public utility company. So there's no wells for each of these houses. These are all run off of a utility company. And I believe the one out here is called Pahrump Utility. They service the 89061 zip code with water. So much like in Vegas, you pay a water bill on a monthly basis.
And what about the electric? Is there going to
At the moment, we only have one provider here in Pahrump, and that is the Valley Electrical Co-op.
Now, there's other options, isn't
Tell me about them.
Well, I mean, there's this other option besides Valley Electric.
There is?
Yeah.
Oh, tell me about it. Educate me on that.
What do they call
the PV panels.
Thank you.
Are you talking about the PV panels?
Yes, sir.
That's really interesting. That's something I'm starting to do a lot of research on. The reason it was so popular in Hawaii is because the government in Hawaii, county to county, was really heavily pushing people to do that. You know, they were environmentally conscious, and many of the politicians there had a real sense of obligation to the environment. Hawaii had a plan, and is still executing that plan as we speak, to become self-sustainable in like 50 years, 100 years. Don't quote me on that. But they want to be self-sustainable. They don't want to be dependent on oil being shipped in from other countries, being shipped in to the ports in Eva Beach, to the ports in Honolulu Harbor.
Great about, this power company and, all the...
I'm not touching it, Joe. I'm not touching it.
Well, if I was investing in a home and I moved from Colorado...
Okay.
And I invested my $350,000...
Yeah.
I want to get my power on. I want a little insight on Valley Electric.
Mm-hmm.
There's options. There's solar panels.
Yeah, fair enough. Listen, I don't know if the solar panels in any of the residential applications I've ever touched or have seen so far are enough to fully take someone off the grid. I don't know. Typically what I see is that people will have solar panels, they'll heat their water, it'll contribute to savings on their electrical costs, but they're still tied into the grid. They're still paying VEA something, even though they may incur significant savings. If you're talking about going fully off grid, actually there are ways to do that. There are people with generators. I know it does require fuel. People that use PV panels. And you see that a lot out there in Johnny, where you don't have any public utilities, where you don't have VEA putting any electric out there. There are no poles run. Out there in Johnny, people will live basically off the grid by necessity on their lots. So that's...
I got a sibling.
Yeah.
What one thing could you tell him to lock him down?
To lock him down on a house?
One thing out here that you could tell him that
Okay, well, I would ask him first, how soon are you looking to move? Give me an answer to that.
Year?
A year? I would ask them, then why not now? Well, let me show you. Hashtag let me show you. Where do you want to go look? What are your needs, right? So assuming we've already established all of that, assuming I've done my work, I mean, what are you asking me, Joe? You know what's weird is I think I know what you're asking. People aren't asking me, where should I live? Why should I live here? You know, what specific kind of house? It's a weird thing. Some people care. Some people really need that 5-bedroom house and really need, if you look out there, really need those 2 chairs out there. Like there's a pool. There's no pool out there, but they need that. They need a nice yard. They need it to be a certain way. They need, and by the way, here in Burson Ranch, RV parking. That's one of the major points of this subdivision. You can park your RV here. And that's why a lot of people will opt to live here versus Mountain Falls.
What do you mean they have access to?
Yeah, you see that RV camper out there? You can park your RV on your lot here. So a lot of people will opt to live here versus Mountain Falls because it is close, but they want to park their camper. They want to park their RV. But in any event...
Is that a separate bill or?
No, it's part of, yeah.
Sewer, you gotta have electric, you gotta have water to your RV. Is that what
right.
you're saying?
No. The space is provided. But that's a good question because actually you have to talk to the builder when you're having the home built, have the hookup installed, you know, the sewer inlet, yeah.
The sewer inlet.
Yeah. And if you're interested in that, we can talk to some of the people that have done that so that we can have that thrown in if possible when we negotiate the best deal on your new home. At the sales office.
So if I were looking for a contractor.
Yeah.
And I needed a space for my 30-foot mobile home.
Yeah. First thing I do is say, okay, you're looking for a new house here. You want to order it from the sales office. Well, let's ask them, see if have them throw it in. You know, maybe that's better. If they don't do that, or if it ends up being more expensive because you've done the math on your own, you've got your own contractors. Okay, let's prepare for that. But you were asking me, Joe, to sell, was it your brother, your cousin?
My brother.
Your brother, on a house. Let me start with this. In this industry, there are 2 kinds of agents. Well, I'll say this a lot. It's a lie because there's all kinds of agents. The ones that embrace the brand, the realtor logo, the R, and the ones that don't. The ones that vomit inside of their mouths when they watch a video of, or they themselves, for whatever reason, go to another region and have to raise their right hand and say, I am a realtor, right? The ones that vomit inside of their mouth at that. And the ones that freaking love it. The ones that freaking love the R on all of their reports they generate. The ones that freaking love this trade union. Think it's special or something. And you look at that dividing line. One of our objectives as real estate agents, well, realtors specifically, is to promote the idea of home ownership, right? It's not merely to sell someone a house, but to promote the idea of home ownership, promote the benefits of home ownership.
Out here, Mr.
Right. Well, let me finish. To promote the idea of home ownership. And I take that a step further. I say, not just promoting home ownership in general, right? I think it's not only ethical, but incredibly necessary to stay alive, and incredibly necessary if you believe in what you're selling enough, to not just to promote home ownership, but to promote home ownership in your community, in the area or areas that you serve. To be so sold on the neighborhoods you walk, the neighborhoods that you knock on the doors, the neighborhoods that you meet people and talk to, the neighborhoods where you sell houses, to be so sold on that community that you can very easily sell your community, right? Because sure, you can buy one of these houses in any state across the country, Canada, Why Pahrump? So I'm not going to waste my time selling your brother on a house. Instead, I'm going to... We can find one. We can find one that's pet friendly. We'll find one that's pet friendly. But instead of wasting my time selling your brother on a house, because he's going to need a house anyway, why shouldn't he just go down to Vegas? Why shouldn't he just go down to Arizona? Why shouldn't he go down, Well, here's the thing. Pahrump is special. Why would I buy a house in Pahrump? Well, I've just talked about economic reasons. Oh, well, yeah. I can't afford one in Vegas. So I'm going to buy one out here and live close enough to commute into work. Okay, but listen, I see what we're doing as real estate agents here in Pahrump as really instrumental to the growth of the town. And I also see the growth of the town as an opportunity to kind of follow in the footsteps of these pioneers, these cowboys that you see in the historical pictures that the Nye County Commission puts out on their public information website, Facebook. The historical pictures you can dig up at UNLV's, special collections in their libraries of the pioneers, of the prospectors, the 49ers. Of course, that's California, but the ones that prospected for gold, that mined for gold, that came in. I think this is an opportunity to do that. I think more than ever, at this time in human history, for many different reasons, we need that. We need that spirit back. 60 miles out of Las Vegas. 35-minute drive in some cases from the outer reaches of Blue Diamond Joe. You're in rural Nevada. 35 minutes out from Las Vegas, the bustling city of Vegas, where no matter where you are always, in some sense, living in the shadow of the brightest neon lights, if you can make sense of that oxymoron, right? You have a chance not to step into some old thing someone else built, Joe. You have a chance not to take it easy, not to go the old way from 30 years ago. My mother gave me this, my father gave me this. I have this easy life now. Now I'm gonna just go to the club every night, have fun on the strip, or have fun on the outskirts. You come to Pahrump, I think by choice, to follow in the footsteps of your great-grandfather and his father. But my take is you don't come here because you can't afford to live somewhere else. You come here because you are making the ultimate sacrifice, like your grandfather did, like your grandfather did, like his great-grandfather did, generations upon generations of people, Joe. Pioneers, cowboys, right? I don't look at it that way. You don't come here because you can't afford to live somewhere better. You come here because you're going to contribute to a community that is growing not just for itself, not just for our own kids, even if we don't want to look at it that way, but for the entire world. People would ask me, how can you say that? How do you know Pahrump is going to become the opportunity community of the world? How do you know someday the world is going to look to this little town for something? Well, you know what? Let me show you is my answer. I believe what we're doing as real estate agents is instrumental to that. The more people we bring in, the more houses we sell, the more chance we have at becoming that gem. The more ingenuity. Doctors, nurses, servants, police officers, paramedics, firemen, the person serving your dinner at the diner, construction workers, builders. The more houses we sell, the more people that we bring in, the better chance we have. And what that means is that the work we do as salesmen is a lot more important than people would give us credit for, and it's up to us to make this happen. If we want the eyes of the world turned to Pahrump for answers to energy, sustainability, if we want to play a role as Tesla starts to consume the mineral deposits in rural Nevada for its lithium batteries, if we want to play a role in that, if we want to be the center of it, we got to bring more people in, people with ideas, people with dreams, servants, doctors, nurses. We got to bring people in with dreams. We got to bring people in that love what they do and that don't see coming here as I couldn't afford to live in Vegas, but see coming here as I'm following in the footsteps of my great-great-great-grandparents. I come here as a pioneer. And there's a controversial term, manifest destiny. You can say what you want, the negative tinges. I don't know. I think this is divine arrangement, Joe. You come here, we all have our own reasons, but it's a divine arrangement. Do you want it to be? I'm going to help make it that way. Maybe you will too. Buy a house.
The Summerlin of Pahrump.
Maybe. Hey, listen. Do you want it to be? Let's make it happen. But listen, here's my take on that too, is why would you want to have the Summerlin of Pahrump? Why would you want Pahrump to be a Summerlin? I know what you mean. Why would you want Pahrump to be, a lot of people say, they're trying to turn Pahrump into the Palm Springs of Vegas. Okay. Why would you want that?
I've heard that.
Yeah, why would you want that? We're Pahrump.
Why wouldn't you want it? Palm Springs is beautiful. You want
right.
A man-made lake in here.
You're right.
Man-made lake.
Okay, absolutely. You're absolutely right. We want that beauty.
There's festivals. There's
Correct. We do want that. But there is going to be something unique. And so if you're talking about, if you're drawing a parallel between economic growth, between the things people get to do on the weekends, like go to farmers markets and have festivals, and I agree with that. But there will always be something unique about Pahrump. And in fact, if you read the 2014 long-range development plan, essentially, that was developed by the Nye County Planning Commission and adopted in 2014, the update to the master plan, what's heavy on people's minds is preserving rural culture, preserving the rural identity, the rural look, right, through the architecture, through how streets are planned, through how development is planned.
Well,
right.
If I were to invest, Mr. Ursua,
yeah.
I want a neighborhood watch. I want safety.
Right.
Want, that sense of if I were to leave my doors unlocked.
Right.
Or my packages are getting delivered
yeah.
by UPS.
No, that's, yeah.
I don't want somebody running up and stealing my,
Yeah, that's always a concern anywhere someone goes, and I would always encourage someone to do the research on their own and see if they're comfortable with their neighborhood. If you go through this community, you'll see a lot of Nye County Sheriff's Office cars parked around. A lot of police officers live here, And I guess, the joke is, when you've got a cop car in front of your house, and you're a cop, someone is less likely, quite significantly less likely to rob your home if they see you're a cop.
That's debatable, Matt.
Okay. Yeah, I know, it is. You're right. You're right.
It just depends on the person and how courageous they are. And how
courageous.
you gotta have a lot of courage, man.
Yeah.